The BRICS agreement is a grouping of 5 major emerging national economies: Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. The term BRIC was coined in 2001 by economist Jim O'Neill, who predicted that these countries would become dominant economic powers by the year 2050. In 2010, South Africa joined the group, making it BRICS. Together, the BRICS nations represent nearly half the world's population, and they account for about a quarter of global GDP. The grouping was formed to promote economic cooperation among its members and to provide a platform for them to advance their interests on the global stage. The BRICS agreement has several implications for the United States. 1. Challenge to traditional dominance. The rise of the BRICS nations challenges the traditional dominance of the United States and other developed nations in the global economy. In the past, developed nations such as the United States, Japan, and Western Europe have dominated the global economy, but the BRICS nations are increasingly challenging this dominance. For example, China has emerged as a major economic power and is now the world's second-largest economy after the United States. 2. Increased influence in international institutions. The BRICS nations are working to increase their influence in international institutions such as the International Monetary Fund, IMF, and the World Bank, where they feel their voices are not adequately represented. These institutions were established after World War II and are dominated by developed nations such as the United States and Western Europe. The BRICS nations are calling for reform of these institutions to reflect the changing global economic landscape. 3. Alternative source of funding for developing countries. The BRICS nations have formed a development bank, known as the New Development Bank, NDB, which aims to provide an alternative source of funding for infrastructure projects in developing countries. This could potentially compete with institutions such as the World Bank and the Asian Development Bank, which have traditionally been dominated by the United States and other developed nations. The NDB is headquartered in Shanghai, China, and has an initial authorized capital of $100 billion. 4. Potential for economic cooperation and investment opportunities. The BRICS nations offer potential for economic cooperation and investment opportunities for the United States. As these economies continue to grow, there will be opportunities for U.S. businesses to expand into these markets. For example, Brazil is a major producer of commodities such as soybeans, coffee, and sugar, and there are opportunities for U.S. businesses to invest in this sector. 5. Geopolitical implications. Finally, the rise of the BRICS nations has geopolitical implications for the United States. For example, China's rise as a major economic power has led to tensions between the United States and China over issues such as trade, intellectual property, and human rights. The United States is also concerned about Russia's assertiveness in the global arena, particularly in Eastern Europe and the Middle East. In summary, the BRICS agreement is a platform for economic cooperation and advancement among Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. Its implications for the United States include the challenge to its traditional dominance in the global economy, increased influence in international institutions, the potential for competition in development finance, economic cooperation and investment opportunities, and geopolitical tensions.